evening. Thank you all for being here tonight on what is a solemn evening for those of us gathered here. My name is Mary Alice Carr, and I am with NARAL Pro-Choice New York, and we have gathered with our colleagues and friends tonight to remember a man who gave his life to save the life of others. Dr. George Tiller, doctor of Wichita, Kansas, who gave abortions to women in some of their darkest times. He was there for decades for thousands of women when they needed him. And thank you all for being here tonight to honor his legacy, to honor his memory, and to be with us as we move forward in order to make sure this does not happen again. Tonight, we want to start by welcoming Reverend Matthew Westfox. He's the National Director of Field Services for the Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice and Associate Pastor at All Souls Bethlehem Church, and he will lead us in a prayer.
Good evening. We're here tonight because of a tragedy, because of a tragic murder. I want to call us together tonight in a spirit of mourning, a spirit of grieving and sorrow for the loss of a great doctor, for the loss of all the women who won't be able to get services because of his loss, for the loss that we all feel when fear hits us, when people reach out in violence because of those they disagree with. I want to call us together to mourn, to grieve together. I want to call us together tonight in a spirit of anger. We are angry tonight, and we should be. This is a murder that shouldn't be. This is a terrible act that we should stand in solidarity, stand up and oppose. That no matter what we disagree, no matter what our feelings on different opinions and views, never should violence be used. That we are angry that someone who did so much to help others was taken from us. I call us together tonight in anger. Not to lash out, not to fight, but to acknowledge that anger, that this must never happen again. I call us together tonight in a spirit of celebration and thanksgiving. Let us celebrate the life of this doctor who did so much to help others. Let us celebrate and give thanksgiving for all of those who work tirelessly day and night to provide abortion services for those who need them. For the doctors and the nurses, for the clinic staff, for counselors and receptionists and administrators and janitors, for all of those who work in clinics, all of those who are afraid tonight of what may happen because of this terrible act. Let's give thanks tonight and celebration. And perhaps most importantly, I call us together tonight in a spirit of solidarity. Tonight, this vigil is happening like vigils all across the country. As all of us come together in our anger, come together in our mourning, come together in our celebration, to remember that we are not alone. That all throughout the country, people are standing up to say this must not happen. To mourn the death and passing of Dr. Tiller, and to remember the great life he led, and to give thanks for all he did. Earlier today, I spoke to a colleague who was going to a similar vigil, at which 3 of the people who are going to speak are former patients, women whose lives were quite literally saved by the work of Dr. Tiller. I can think of no better testament to the great work of his life and the great horror and tragedy of his murder. Friends, if you join me in a time of prayer, and start with a moment of silence, as together in all our different ways we remember this loss. Gracious and loving God, known to us by so many different names and so many different faces, in all our different voices, to all your different names, we lift up prayers tonight. Prayers for the family of George Tiller, for all of those who are touched by his life and are mourning his loss. For all of us who are a little bit more afraid, but still willing to stand up and declare our voices for justice. Gracious and loving God, be tonight with us, with our voices and in our silence, and be tonight with all of those who work to make abortion possible. Hold them in your loving embrace and in your safe care. Doctors, nurses, clinic staff, administrators, all of those who work to make this possible, keep them in your loving, safe embrace. And hear all of us tonight as we lift up our voices to you in all your many names, saying, Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Wes Fox. This is not easy. This is hard tonight. I want to also direct everyone's attention to a paper that we have on the ground that we invite you all to write thoughts, feelings, and reflections in honor of Dr. Tiller, and it is our goal that we get this paper to Dr. Tiller's clinic in Kansas, where they will continue to serve women, and we want it to go to the staff there so they know about the support and outpouring of love across the country for the work that is done there. So please take a moment and write your reflections. And as we know, tonight is about how we move forward and how we continue to support the providers that do this work every day. And we are honored to have with us tonight the CEO of Planned Parenthood of New York City, Joan Malin.
Thank you, Mary Alice, and thank you, Reverend, for your prayers and wonderful comments. It does mean a great deal to all of us. We at Planned Parenthood are deeply saddened by the murder of Dr. George Tiller. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends and to all of us who hold Dr. Tiller in such high regard and know the value of his commitment and his work. To me, Dr. George Tiller was truly an American hero. He provided reproductive health care services to women facing some of the most difficult medical circumstances. He was one of a very small number of doctors who offered late-term abortion services in very heart-wrenching situations. He was continually harassed by abortion opponents for much of his career. His clinic was burned down. He was previously shot in both arms by a health center protester, and he was continually targeted for investigation, only to be acquitted by a jury just a few months ago. None of this stopped George Tiller from his commitment to providing women and their families with compassionate care that others were unwilling to offer. Several years ago, after anti-abortion protesters marched outside the same church where he was killed on Sunday, Dr. Tiller explained his commitment to providing abortion care for women. He said, "Make no mistake, this battle is about self-determination by women of the direction and course of their lives and their families' lives. Abortion is about women's hopes and dreams. Abortion is a matter of survival for women." Now we at to Dr. Tiller. We at Planned Parenthood have referred patients to Dr. Tiller's practice over the years. Many of the patients were pregnant women with wanted pregnancies that had gone horribly wrong. And some were very young women, like 11 years old, that had never decided to be a parent and needed an abortion. In all those cases, Dr. Tiller provided high-quality care with compassion and support. A couple years ago, Dr. Tiller came and spoke at Planned Parenthood, and he shared his experiences and passion for his work with our staff. He brought a deep understanding of patient needs and set the bar high for quality care, compassion, and understanding. His death is an enormous loss for the patients who relied upon him, his dedicated staff, the medical community, and for the women and families of this country. But our work continues. The medical providers and clinical staff at Planned Parenthood rededicate our efforts to serve the women and families of New York. We do this in Dr. Tiller's memory. Thank you.